Today's cocktail is the Mint Julep. The Mint Julep is a bourbon-based cocktail consisting of simple syrup, muddled mint leaves, bourbon, and is served over ice in a highball glass. The Mint Julep is associated with the South and Southern cuisine and Southern living, and it is especially associated with the Kentucky Derby horse race. Now, I do not currently live in Kentucky, but I have in the past. I have family roots in that area of the country, and we are not Mint Julep drinkers. That said, I know a lot of people who are. I know a lot of people who have Kentucky Derby themed parties in the spring, and they certainly have a couple of Mint Juleps. Now, I personally do not have a super fondness for bourbon whiskeys. That's a personal thing. My father drank them, and when I was of age, in trying to imitate him, I figured I would start with his favorite, and I discovered that I did not like the sort of oak tannin-based taste of the whiskey, and it is an acquired taste, and it took me about 20 years to properly acquire it. I will have the occasional whiskey now as an adult, as a 45-year-old person, but in my 20s it was not something I fully appreciated. I remember asking Dad, how do you drink this stuff? Again, the Mint Julep is a Southern staple, and it is a Kentucky Derby and Derby party staple, and I do like mint-based cocktails, so I can understand the muddling of the mint leaves mixed with the simple syrup, and then ice and alcohol over top of that, making something that is quite palatable and actually very pleasing to the mouth. I certainly like the mojito for that reason, the mixture of the sweetness with the mint and the lime in that case, and I like rum. I really do like rum. So again, if you are of age and are in the market for a new cocktail maybe that you haven't had before, and you like bourbons, especially if you like bourbons, the Mint Julep may be the cocktail for you. As always, enjoy responsibly, and we'll see you soon.
We're going to talk about Black Hawk Farms, which is my very first HPDE.
What is an HDPE?
That is a high performance driver education.
Oh.
Because we're not racing. We don't have transponders, and they're not timing us, so we are not racing. That is the insurance company working.
I was gonna say that sounds like the legalese.
Yes, it's very much the legalese. So my very first HPDE was April 14th, 2006. This dude here, whose name I will blank out, was my ride-in instructor. I was in a Nissan 240SX, but I was not in the race car. I was in the Buzzer. This it's not purple. It's called like
a bluish.
Some kind of blue. Nissan's got those weird paint colors, but yeah, it was blue. It was this color blue when I took it to Black Hawk Farms, which of course I later repainted it yellow, which is probably when you saw it.
Probably.
But Black Hawk Farms is up here in, legally speaking, it is in South Beloit, Illinois, which is just below the state line. So like you go up here to Beloit, Wisconsin, and you go out in the sticks, and then you cross back into Illinois, which is where the track is.
Ooh.
So you can't see, like, this is the entrance to the track. So the state line is actually up here just out of this photo.
Oh, okay.
But Black Hawk, and okay, so the thing about Black Hawk is you have to cross the racetrack to get into the track. And when I approached the track, I drove in. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I drove in and turned onto the track. Not only did I turn onto the track, I turned onto the track going the wrong direction.
Oh, snap.
Luckily for me, the track was not hot because they have to close the gates to run the track. So
Right.
I got lucky. I realized I was like, I'm going the wrong direction. Holy shit. So I turned around. So we were in here in the center area, and then our classroom stuff was in here too, in the pavilion and the tech shed and all that. So again, this was April of 2006, and Black Hawk Farms is not quite 2 miles long. As you can see from the map, though, it's quite curvy.
Yeah.
And it's so it's a motorcycles race on Black Hawk, and car groups do events there as well. It is a clockwise direction track, as you can see by the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say about Black Hawk Farms? Black Hawk Farms is torture on brakes. And because I was a newbie and I did not know that when I went there, I showed up with a bone stock automatic transmission Nissan 240SX. Now, I was there, and I do remember a car leaving track because I almost left the track myself. I'm not sure if this was him though, because apparently cars go off there. I won't say frequently, but if you leave Black Hawk, there's only a couple places you're probably going to do it. Mm-hmm. One of those is at turn 1, and one is at turn 7. And I was trying to look at the aerial map to figure out which was more likely. This looks like it's mowed pretty good, but I seem to remember having a holy shit moment where I thought I was going to go out into the sticks.
I mean, from here you can't really tell, but it looks like there's lots of places where you could just end up in the sticks.
Yes, and honestly, I think turn 1's the biggest offender because you got that long straightaway.
Yeah.
And no. Let me take that back. It's turn 7. I'll tell you why. Because on the front straight, the brakes have a chance to cool down. But
okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're really, really, really wearing on your brakes, and then you swing around, and I think it was 7. But whatever the case was, I get in the car with the instructor, and he starts talking to me, and the same guy rode with me 3 times. So the first time you get in the car, it's sort of like random draw. Mm-hmm. And then that guy is supposed to go back with you for your next couple of sessions so that they can evaluate you totally. So you see, he rode with me 3 times. Mm-hmm. And I think our 4th session got bumped that day. He gave me a 10 for following instruction. He gave me a 10 for improving each session. And then I got an 8 for driving the proper line. I got a 10 for good attitude, 10 for smooth inputs, 9 for flag recognition, 8 for being comfortable in traffic, and I got a 10 because I attended all my group sessions, all the classroom sessions.
Look at you, star student.
Yeah, you got to be, because if you don't and they kick you out, you don't get your money back. So, yeah. But plus, I was having a time of my life. I was finally getting to do the thing I've been dreaming of for years, which was drive a car on a racetrack. And, you know, that 240, especially that one, because it was automatic transmission and it had stock tires and stock brakes. And at that point in its life, it had, I want to think just a hair over 120,000 miles on it. So it wasn't no spring chicken. That was 2006, so that car was a decade old already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a 96 model. So, and the guy I bought it from, I get the impression that he had done maintenance on it, but nothing else. Like the shocks were worn out, the interior was faded, you know, it had lived a life. So I put fresh oil in it, but I don't think I bled the brakes, which I paid for immediately because I didn't finish my first lap when my brakes went away. Like, I did not make it the full lap before I pushed the pedal all the way to the floor and nothing happened. Well, you know, you adapt and overcome. So I downshifted, even though it's automatic. I was downshifting manually. That helped slow me down, and you pump the brake a couple times and then scrub a little bit of speed off, and then you can make the corner at least. But there was a couple times where I came close to leaving the track.
I would say that sounds kind of scary.
But you just learn that if you don't have any brakes, then maybe you don't hold the accelerator pedal all the way down to the end of the straightaway.
Yeah,
Ease up off the gas, and the car will slow down some, and you downshift, the car will slow down some more, and then you make your corner. The good news about 240s is they corner pretty well, but that car had an open differential and a regular size tire, so that's like 16 by 7.5, I think, 16 by 6.5. It's not an overly wide tire. So it got a little squirrely on me a couple times, but as you can see by my grading, I was good, and he did approve me to move up to the next group, which was great. And I had a good time that weekend. They had a party in Janesville, Wisconsin, which is up the road a little bit. There was a guy up there, he was a race car fabricator or something, so we had the party at his shop, and they had free beer, and they had lasagna and salad. Ooh. So we ate lasagna and drank beer. I had one beer because I'm not a beer guy, but I got a plaque for, what did they give me that stupid plaque for? Good classroom participation or some such shit. But I won in the drawing. I won a bottle of brake fluid, bottle of really good German high performance brake fluid, which I took back home and put in my other car. And you know what? I never had brake problems again.
Well, that worked out.
So the thing I learned was that you had to upgrade your brake pads. Street brake pads cannot do racetrack temperatures. So you have to go and pay for a set of high performance brake pads. I use Hawk brand brake pads. I'm going to bleep that out later. I use Hawk. They have what they call an HP Street, and they have an HP Plus. So the Street pad it will stop cold, so you can use it on the street, but it can take extended temperatures for lighter cars, like a 240. And so you can use it as both a street and race pad. And then they have like the HP Plus, which doesn't really stop on cold, so you can't really use it on the street. But once you put some heat into it, it works very well. So it's great for track use. And actually, my track car to this day has Hawk HP Plus on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And still got that ATE blue brake fluid. That stuff is great. Because what you saw me do at Newton, I never had any problem with my brakes that whole day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that was Black Hawk Farms in Beloit, Wisconsin, or South Beloit, Illinois, as they call it. And that was a good launch to what I thought was going to be a steady progression through NASA and getting my racing license.